I know that I was never taught the tools, the strategies, the information that we need in order to be just as successful in our loving romantic relationships as we are in other areas of our life, like getting degrees or getting buying homes or getting the newest car or even stocks. We're doing really good at stocks now. We are coming together to buy all of these things and assets that we didn't have the information to. And so your love life is no different. Just like we go out there and get the information for our careers or something that we just really want to learn about, whether it's stocks, whether it's buying property, and all of the other slew of things that we can insert in there, you have to come get the information about your relationship just the same way because you don't know, and you don't know what you don't know, which is hindering you, which is holding you back from creating your extraordinary relationship. So, here today for these next 30 something minutes, we are going to be talking about dating and why dating without a title is so important. We have a tendency to always want to have a title. It's a good thing. However, not in the very beginning. You should be just learning, gathering information, gathering data in order to walk away, go off to the side into your silent place, into your silent world, so you can reflect on the conversation, so you can reflect on how the date went, so you can really assess how this person is and assess how well they would fit into your life. They should be doing the exact same thing. That is something that many of us do not do. We show up, we're like, okay, I like this person, and then we try to jump off into a relationship when in fact you are shortchanging yourself and you are not, for the most part, excelling at choosing a partner that is right for you, which is why we have so many divorces and so many breakups because many of us are too quick and eager to jump in with the title, not giving it sufficient time for it to bud, for it to grow, right? You're planting the seed, you're waiting for the sun to hit it. So the bud can come up, the shoot can come up out of the ground, and then it starts to grow and starts to mature. Many of us are jumping from seed to tree or seed to fruit. It doesn't work like that. And so, in order for you to get the best experience, in order for you to attract the best mate, in order for you to have an extraordinary relationship, we have to slow down. We have to take time to reflect. We have to see how this person is showing up. How do you feel after? Right? So now I'm gonna start jumping into them because I have 10 things that I want to go over today. The first reason why dating without a title is so important is because it allows you both to remain casual as you get to know one another instead of bringing on all of the pressure, instead of you didn't introduce me to, right? So instead of that, just going to have fun, letting your hair down, going to sightsee, do some of the things that you've been wanting to do around the city. Even if it doesn't work out, this may just be practice for you to engage and have conversation with the opposite sex because maybe you were nervous about doing that in the past. And you would be surprised. Some people still suffer from being able to just have natural conversations with the opposite sex. It happens. So you can remain casual, you can remain free, you can show up as yourself instead of what you believe this other person should or is going to like about you. Before we start showing up, even on these dates, you have to know that you like yourself. You have to know that you are doing this for you. You have to know that you are showing up for you first before he gets a taste of you. And I don't mean sexually taste, I mean him putting his eyes on you. But you owning who you are, allowing things to be slower so they can naturally progress without the pressure. You're going to hear that a lot in this one because we have a tendency to start putting pressure on ourselves and then we reflect or I should say deflect, and put the pressure on the other person when maybe they didn't get a chance to see what box they put you in. Is she long term? Is she a dating for now? Or is she a Mrs. Right for now? You should be doing the exact same thing. Is this a long term? Is this, I don't really kind of know, let's see? Or is this the play? You should be putting him in boxes just like he puts you in boxes, by slowing down and really assessing who's in front of you. And this doesn't happen in just one date. It happens over a period of time, several days. I even suggest to my clients that they should go on six dates before you make a decision. Why six? Because by the sixth date, the nerves should have calmed down. You should be able to naturally talk to this person, because you should be used to talking, texting, emailing, whatever, however you two communicate. But meeting up at least 6 different times before you say, and what box you're going to put them in. Because men and women initially know if they can see the sexual attraction to you. Might not act on it, but we, men and women, can see if we are sexually attracted to you in that initial meeting. So not a lot has to go into it, but you want to remain as casual as possible in the beginning, so you can freely have conversations about the things that you want, about the things that you need, and actually be open to listening to his side. So then again, when you go away and reflect, and when you go away and assess the situation, now you can say, okay, I can see him. Okay, I can see that this kind of working. Or you can say, I do not see myself a part of that world, whatever that world is. But you got to slow down. Don't be looking for the title right away. Look for casual. Look for how he's treating people. The waiters, the waitresses, just people that's walking by. Is he opening up car doors? Car doors too, but I really meant doors to get in buildings. Is he not? Like, are these things that you require? You don't care about him, right? But being able to really slow down and see him outside of those few moments. The second thing is, when you date without a title, now you can, after you assess, you can say, you know what? I can actually take this person, or I can leave this person at any point. Because that pressure of you needing the title dissipates. We are not needy people, and we have to act accordingly. The other party can smell desperation, whether you realize it or not. But if you're here listening to me, then now you know. They can smell desperation. They may not be able to put that word on it, but it's something about, they just can't pinpoint why they don't want to move forward with you. So dating without a title allows you to be able to take a deep breath, assess the situation, and say, you know what? I can take it or leave it. You don't need to be in this relationship with this particular person at this particular date and time. It's not a need. It's a want. And it's not necessarily a want with that person. It is a want that you have in your life. And you can know the difference and accept the difference. The third reason why it is so important to date without a title is because the types of questions you ask can be asked without feeling the pressure to be speaking directly about the two of you. So you can ask generalized questions, but questions that are actually deal breakers for yourself. Such as, are you open to more children? You may not want children. And he's like, heck yeah. And you're like, okay, so that might not work out. What do you think about marriage? Were your parents married, or were they divorced? What do you think about divorce? Like, really assessing and getting down to the deeper questions. So now, again, when you go away and all of those hormones are settled down, now you can look back and be like, okay, I like that answer. No, that I need some more clarifying information on that answer. Again, not Xing them completely in this moment. You're just gathering information, you're gathering data, you're trying to see how much fun you have together, how much of a stickler this person is, or how goofy this person is, or somewhere in between. Can you have a lot of fun with them, or do you feel like you are on pins and needles with this person? You can't do that if you're give me the title, give me the title, give me the title. You can't do that. I need for you to slow down, get those nerves down. 6 dates before you make a decision. You friending them, you booty calling them, let's be real, or you trying to put them in a different category, in a long-term slash marriage category. The fourth reason why it is important to date without a title is because you get to evaluate this person, see if this person is really right for you and right for the lifestyle that you want your future to look like. Is it or isn't it? So y'all at what you doing? Number 5. You don't have to settle for what's being presented to you. A lot of times we have a tendency to start to settle for what's in front of us because we don't believe that somebody else is going to come along, somebody better is going to come along, because maybe it has been a few months, maybe it's been a few years since somebody has paid you attention in this way. But here's the thing. Once you start going down the road with somebody that you know you should not be entertaining and just accepting whatever it is that they are presenting to you, this is when we start to get into trouble. And then we pay later. So I don't want you to pay later. I want you to pay attention right now. So again, you get to evaluate them. And then notice you do not have to just accept what they are presenting to you. Right now, you are evaluating the situation to see where this person fits into your life, or if they fit into your life at all. Exactly what you're doing. This is exactly what you are doing. So do that. Slow it down. Don't be so excited about receiving the title, because then you're in a world of trouble later on. Asking a plethora of deeper questions. Yes, you can talk about where they're from, you can talk about the career, you can talk about all of the fluff, all of the surface level stuff that people are so willing to give to you. It is when we start going deeper and layers below that now the person might be looking around, or the shutdown starts to happen. Some people it doesn't happen to. Others, it happens a lot. And then we wonder, when we actually get into the relationship, we're wondering what happened to that connection that we were building. And it's because that person has some walls that they have blocked off over here, and you're not able to get on the other side of that wall because you don't have permission. They will not allow you over there. So being able to slow down, assess everything that the person is bringing to you, knowing that you have options, you have choices, you can accept it, but you don't have to settle for it, right? Accept it or not, settle or not. You have a choice, right? So you don't have to settle for what they're presenting to you if it's not something that you want to entertain for the long haul, because you have choices. But not only do you have choices, you also understand the confidence and your worth and your self-esteem is on 1,000, because you have done the work behind the scenes on you, which is why it's so important for us to slow things down. And even if you are in the dating stages, I need for you to be continuously working on you, how you are presenting yourself. Because if you don't love you before you try to get into a relationship, and let alone a marriage, there is no way you can expect the other person to be able to give you what you need, because you don't know what you need. And you cannot articulate your needs if you don't know what they are first. You have to first have your own identity and know what you want before you can give it to someone else, and before you can even receive it. Because if you have a whole lot of trauma that you have not dealt with, there's no way that your relationship or your marriage is going to last. It's just not going to happen, unless you have a partner that is willing to stay for the sake of the title, instead of making sure that you guys are happy together. Because there are so many people You know them, grandparents, uh, aunts and uncles, great aunts and uncles that have been together for umpteen years, but that does not mean that they had a happy marriage. They didn't leave because, they believed in to death do you part, which I actually do too. However, a lot of the to death do you parts and grandparents were together because of survival. They were not thriving, beautiful, healthy relationships. And so we want to stop just getting into relationship for the sake of survival, because after you start to thrive outside of the survival, like your minimal needs are taken care of, like you got a roof over your head, you're not worried about food, you're not worried about paying the bills. The things that you used to worry about before are no longer taken into consideration. But then when it comes time to connect with your mate on a deeper level, to really build and see what this person is mentally and emotionally, that's where we are falling so short. So it's not just about getting to the relationship or marriage in order to take care of your basic needs. That is important, but you don't have to marry the person to do that. All right. So the sixth thing, I think I already mentioned. Yeah, I think I'm on 7. Yes, I did. Because then you're able to see if this person is a great fit for you. Literally, are they a friend? Are they a lover? Are they your husband? Are they your wife? So now you know where to put it. So number 7, why you need to keep dating without a title, and why that is important is because now you can freely say what your expectations are and establish the boundaries prior to getting to a relationship. Because when you try to establish boundaries after you have started a relationship, it is really tough to establish boundaries. Not to say it cannot happen, but why wait when you have a voice? You got to start using the brain beforehand. We can no longer just go into the relationship and go into the marriage willy-nilly. It's not helping us. It's actually hurting us. And so because you didn't have these tough conversations or things that you know were requirements for you prior to saying I do or getting into a long-term relationship, now you are ticked off because your spouse is not abiding by the rule, your rules. So we have to establish the boundaries and let your partner know what your expectations are while you are still freely dating. Again, you're not saying these are my expectations, you got to do this. No, but you are putting your stuff out there because we're wanting everything to be casual, free, open, so he can hear what you're throwing out there, you can hear what he's throwing out there, and then the both of you can walk away, let the hormones die down for a minute, assess the situation, and then come back together or not. Because sometimes after you assess the situation, you're like, oh, hell no, I ain't going back over there. That happens. But don't again be so desperate for the title that you let all these red flags just go by. Because the very thing that you are looking for not to happen, breakup, divorce, is exactly what is going to happen later on. Might not happen right away, but absolutely later on. So, number 8, the 8th reason why you need to date without a title and why that is so important is I literally just said it. Jumping ahead of the gun. Those red flags. You can slow down and see the red flags so much easier when you're not in the relationship with the person, when you're not in a desperate state to just accept any man that is coming your way, because nobody has paid you any attention in this way in such a long time. I remember myself at the time, for me, and I'm not even making excuses, I didn't realize that red flags were a thing because remember, I told you, I came out here and bust myself upside the head myself, which is why I want to impart the information so you don't have to go down the same road that I did. So I didn't realize that there were red flags, that that was a thing. that I should be looking out for. And so when I went through my divorce, I was like, ooh, I don't like cigarettes or any type of smoking. That's just not my thing. Might be your thing, but I'm talking about me. So me and my ex-husband, did you hear that? Ex, right? We were dating, we got married, and I found out just before we got married that he not only did he smoke cigarettes, he also did a little cig of weed. And he hid it from me. However, I did know the truth before we got married. And that is such a turnoff for me. I still went through with the marriage. That wasn't the only thing that made us divorce. But I do remember, I'm like, oh, that's a red flag. Or it was a red flag for me. Because some people can deal with cigarette, weed, all that. I can't. That's not my life. So that was one of the things that I should have walked away. Another thing is he was out partying a lot more than I realized he was. But when it came to the forefront, it was something I'm like, he's just getting down his system. So those things that we just allowed to just float by. When I knew I ain't want nobody that drank all the time, that smoked anything, and that was a partier. I already knew that prior to, but I still ignored it and went on ahead and did it. Again, that is just the basis of what made us become exes. But there were other things that I just didn't know, right? And you don't know what you don't know. You do not know what you do not know. So the red flags, you will be able to see them a lot clearer without the title. And if you go into it knowing the red flags are there, then that is a choice that you consciously made. You consciously made that choice, and you really have to deal with your choices and accept them. So if a divorce or breakup happens, you are partly at fault. It's not all the other person's issue, problems, blame, because you knew willingly the things that you weren't willing to accept, you still went into it and accepted. And I wholeheartedly own my portion of my divorce. But it's in hindsight. And I don't want you to have to worry about hindsight. I want you to get the information now. So if you are thinking about saying I do, and you see some red flags, and you know that you have addressed the red flags, so you're giving them the opportunity to actually change in said way, and they still have not, it would be a bad idea for you to continue on with the relationship, because it's going to end. And guess what? After you get so comfortable, or I should say your spouse is already comfortable with you not enforcing your boundaries or even setting them, it gets worse and worse. It does not get better after you say I do. It gets worse. Please hear me. It gets worse. So don't ignore those red flags, because you don't want it to get worse. You don't want to have to go in hindsight. Just be willing to slow down and accept the fact that you are in the dating stage in your life. The 9th reason why dating without a title is so important is because you can see if you enjoy this person's company, him as a person, the type of energy that he brings. Again, is he a stickler? Does he laugh a little too much? Is he super goofy? Is he turning you off? Right? You're able to see if you really like him. Not what he can bring to the table, not what he can do for you. Him. When no one else is around, do you like him? Not what he can bring to the table, not how much money he has in the bank. Do you like him? His personality? Do you like the way that he looks? Do you like what he brings to the table? You can only do that. You can only assess this when you slow down and not be so anxious for the title. The 10th Reason why dating without a title is so important is because it keeps things fun and light. Fun and light doesn't mean that you are not assessing. It does not mean that you are not gathering your information that you need in order to make an intelligent decision about if you want to move forward with this person when the time comes. What it does mean is that you are not taking life so seriously, where whenever you go out on a date with this person, that you are turning it into an interview where you are so by the book. I got to ask all these questions. I got to ask them today. And then you're not willing to be spontaneous, to not ask questions this day, but just to go out and have fun, to go fly kites, to go sun gaze or stargaze or whatever the thing is. Sometimes you don't need to have those deep conversations. And you definitely do not need to have them every single time. Do you need to have them? Absolutely. Does it have to be every single date? No. Keep things fun, keep things light, because the people that you like to be around the most, just think about your life. The people that you like to be around the most are the people that make you feel the best. If the person is bringing you down and making you feel bad about yourself, or name calling and blaming and shaming, all that stuff, think about it. Are those the people that you like to be around? Are those the people that you invite into your world? No. So can you be this person's friend? Can you have fun? Can you showcase your actual personality and take off the mask that you're used to showcasing to everybody else, so you can show up as yourself, so the person can fall in love with you, not with anybody else, not with your representative. You do not want your representative to be on your dates. You want you to be on your dates. You want the other person to really authentically be on the date with you, so you both can fall in love with one another. Or you can say, you have repelled me. I understand. It is okay. You do you, boo. Mwah. Goodbye.